Hello, this is Jordan here, like the river. Welcome to my channel, which is all about the God of the Bible and the bass clarinet, my two favorite bees. Okay, so as I said in the first video, this is lesson 2. So if you haven't watched the first video, it's just watching lesson 1. But we're working in the Standard of Excellence book by Bruce Pearson. You can find a link in the description to purchase this book. So today we're going to be working on breath marks. So the breath mark is this little mark right there. And it's going to be after a measure. You're going to find it in the upper register area. And it's going to tell you to take a breath. So obviously that exhale is going to be into a note. So I just want to relate that back to Genesis 2:7. Then the Lord formed the man of dust and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And the man came living creature. So it reminds me of the song, breathe the breath of God, now breathe the breath of God. Breathe the breath of God, now breathe. So it's really humbling to remember that we came from dust and God's breath. We're nothing more than dust and God's breath. So as you're playing these long notes, make sure you take a breath where there is a breath mark. Sometimes when I was a beginner, I like to circle them. So you could take your handy dandy pencil. I got mine over here. My handy dandy pencil. When you're playing music, you should always have a pencil. And you can circle the breath marks. So we're going to do number 8 to 10 in the Standard of Excellence book. So for number 8, it's called A Breath of Fresh Air. Just like God's breath, I'm sure it was pretty fresh. So it's going to be, we're in 4/4 time in the treble clef. We're going to be playing an E whole note. So that means it takes up all 4 counts in the 4/4 time. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 counts per measure. Then we're doing another E. Then we're doing a whole rest. So that's like the little hat going down. We'll get to half rest soon, but the little hat going down is a whole rest. Then we're going to move to D. Remember, 2 fingers here, 1 finger back here. We're going to do 4 notes of that, breath, 4 notes of that. Then we have another whole rest. Then we're going to do C, which is all 3 fingers down in the back. And that's 4 notes, breath, and then 4 counts, breath, 4 counts. Then we're going to be doing number 9, which is side by side. So that's going to be E for a whole note, breath, D for a whole note, a whole rest, D for a whole note, breath, C for a whole note, a whole rest, D for a whole note, breath, and E for a whole note. And then for this video, we are going to stop at number 10. Since the next video, lesson 3, I'm going to focus on half notes. But for lesson 2, we're going to focus on breathing. So remember, you're going to take deep, full breaths from your diaphragm. I'll go into breathing. I'm going to go over number 10 first. That makes more sense. So it's 2 by 2 for number 10. We have a D whole note, breath, E whole note, whole rest, E whole note, breath, D whole note, whole rest, E whole note, breath, C whole note. Now, when you have a whole rest, and after you have learned enough and you're skilled and you've practiced enough, you're going to want to use that break in the music to pretty much read what's coming ahead. I mean, right now you don't have to do that because as a beginner, you're going to want to count the rest. You're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do a little more counting in the next video too, but counting is very important. We want to make sure we have the appropriate time and rhythm. But for first, breathing. So you want to always breathe from your diaphragm. Okay. Never want to breathe from your chest, because when you have a deep note from a diaphragm, it like pushes the air out. One, it's safer for you. Two, the tone on your instrument. After I get my mouthing back, which is why I'm going back to the basics. I can play harder songs because my fingers are there, but my mouth is not there anymore from lack of practice. So once my mouth is strong again, my tone, even though this is not the greatest of bass clarinets, I got this for $300, like I said, when a good bass clarinet is like $3,000. But on another note, you want to take a deep breath in. You want to make sure your shoulders are back. Your behind should be on the edge of your chair. Do not sit all the way back in your chair. That's like a big, you don't want to be all like, I'm sprawled out. No, you want to be on the up edge of your chair. Shoulders back. Deep breath. And now if you want to practice breathing, I suggest, this is something I learned in the 5th grade when I had a person come teach me clarinet lessons over the summer. I think it was the summer before 5th grade, actually. You take a piece of paper and you put it on the wall and you just blow, practicing from breathing from your diaphragm. You just go. Okay, and you just keep doing that. Obviously, we are in a pandemic. I'll wash my hands after this, but I'm alone, socially distanced in my room. So now I'm gonna do a breath of fresh air, number 8. Number 9, side by side. Obviously, my counting will be way easier when I have a metronome. It's a little hard to use my foot and play at the same time. Metronomes help you keep the beat easier because you're not dependent on your own natural rhythm. So if I'm off a little, I apologize. That problem will be fixed pretty soon. Okay, so now we are going to play 2 by 2. And that's the last song. Okay, so remember, we are just God's dust and God's breath, and God is great. And to remember, practice your breathing because it helps with your tone. It helps with just your overall, you have to have good posture. You have to be on the edge of your chair, back straight, breathe deep from your diaphragm and push it out. And you're not, when you first start, let's say you're like a kid right now and you're starting, your breath is going to get better. That is something that comes with practice. Like I also sing, so my breath clearly hasn't been lost. It's just something you have to force out. And also public speaking. So like the same applies. Like obviously not breathing from the diaphragm, but you want to have that power behind you when you talk. And it's kind of like that breath is the power into your instrument. The breath is the power into our nostrils that brings us to life. So God bless. Have a wonderful day. Au revoir.